It was a cold, misty morning in the small village of Elmwood, the sun barely risen, casting a golden hue over the dew-kissed grass. In a modest cottage at the edge of the village, a young woman named Clara sat by the window, staring at the distant mountains. Those mountains had always fascinated her. They were a symbol of the unknown, a place she had dreamed of exploring since she was a child. But the journey seemed impossible, daunting even. The mountains were thousands of miles away, and Clara had never ventured beyond the borders of her village. Clara had always been a dreamer, but life had a way of grounding her. Her parents had passed away when she was young, leaving her to care for her younger brother, Tom. She worked tirelessly as a seamstress, stitching garments for the villagers to make ends meet. The mountains remained a distant dream, a flicker of hope she held on to during her toughest days. One morning, as Clara sipped her tea, Tom burst into the room, holding a tattered map. "Clara, look what I found at the market," he exclaimed, spreading the map on the table. It was a detailed map of the region, with the mountains clearly marked. Clara's heart raced as she traced the path from Elmwood to the mountains. It was a long journey, but the map made it feel tangible, real. "We should go," Tom said, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "We've always talked about it. Why not now?" Clara hesitated. The thought of leaving the safety of their village was terrifying. What if they got lost? What if they ran out of food? What if they failed? But as she looked at Tom's hopeful face, she realized something. The journey didn't have to be perfect. It just had to begin. The next morning, Clara and Tom packed their bags with essentials: food, water, a tent, and the map. The villagers gathered to bid them farewell, some shaking their heads in disbelief. "It's too far," one said. "You'll never make it," another warned. But Clara smiled, her resolve stronger than ever. She knew the journey would be difficult, but she also knew that every great adventure begins with a single step. As they walked away from the village, Clara felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. The first few miles were easy, but as the days turned into weeks, the journey became grueling. They faced harsh weather, treacherous terrain, and moments of doubt. There were times when Clara wanted to turn back, to return to the safety of Elmwood. But every time she felt like giving up, she remembered why they had started. She thought about the mountains, about the dreams she had carried for so long. One evening, as they sat by a campfire under a sky full of stars, Tom turned to Clara and said, "Do you think we'll make it?" Clara smiled and replied, "We already have. Every step we take is a victory. The mountains are just the destination." Months later, Clara and Tom stood at the base of the mountains, their hearts swelling with pride. The journey had been long and arduous, but they had made it. As they looked up at the towering peaks, Clara realized that the journey had changed her. She was no longer the timid girl who had been afraid to leave her village. She was a woman who had faced her fears, taken risks, and discovered her strength. The journey of 1,000 miles had indeed begun with a single step, and that step had led Clara to a place she had only dreamed of. A place where she could see the world and herself in a whole new light. Please subscribe my channel.